is it okay to like fuck at somebody else's house? Or is that like an impolite thing? Is this one of, you don't see this in etiquette rules. Oh, always bring your host a gift and make sure you don't fuck in their house. Yeah. Hello and welcome to the Pillow Talks podcast. We're your hosts, Vanessa
and Xander Marin.
I'm a sex therapist with over 20 years of experience.
And I'm just a regular dude. We share the ups and downs in our relationship while giving you step-by-step techniques for improving yours.
Make sure you subscribe for your weekly double date full of totally doable sex tips, practical relationship advice, hilarious and honest stories of what really goes on behind closed bedroom doors, and so much more. It's the sex education you wish you'd had. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
We're feeling extra grateful today, and maybe even a little nostalgic because we're going way back into the Pillow Talks archives.
All the way back to episode 30 from 2021.
Wow.
Where we talked about having sex when other people are around.
This one's holiday themed, but honestly, it's a must listen if you are a parent, for anyone who lives with their in-laws or with their own parents, or anyone sharing space with roommates.
Having sex when there are guests in your house or when you're the guest can be super stressful. Like, you want to be respectful, but also sometimes you just want to get it in, right?
So in this episode, we're going to break down how to discreetly and politely get down wherever you're spending the holidays.
You'll learn whether it's actually okay to have sex when guests are around, our best tips for pulling it off quietly, and the most common mistakes to avoid.
Plus, you do not want to miss some of the sex gone wrong stories that we pulled from Instagram.
So grab a cozy blanket, maybe put in those earbuds if you're around family already, and let's get into it. We were talking on Instagram about the fact that there's been some recent research that has found people tend to feel hornier around the holidays. And this was actually really shocking to me because every time that I've talked about sex drive around the holidays, people have always said, my sex drive tanks. I'm stressed. There's people around, all the pressure of the holidays. I just do not want to have it. So I was very surprised to see this recent research that people are reporting that they're feeling very horny. Even having the most babies in September, and the timing of that kind of lines up with some holiday conceptions.
There's like a small group of real horn dogs. They're just cranking out babies on the holidays.
Wait, another merch idea.
A small but mighty group of horn dogs.
I want to make a sweatshirt that says certified horn dog.
How about small but mighty horn dog?
That would be me. Small but mighty horn dog.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Well,
all right, well, you're laughing it off over there. What I wonder about this research is that what I noticed, we talked about this the other day, but when you said it just now, what it made me think of, people reporting being horny and then... Wow. I'm trying to carry... I saw that. I'm trying to carry this podcast. But, what I wonder is... reporting that you feel horny versus actually having sex are possibly two different things. So it may be that during the holidays, it's possible that you're spending some more time together with your partner. So you might have more opportunities to get horny. Then you probably end up just sexually frustrated because you're like, shit, I've got mom and dad, aunt and uncle, little cousins on the couch outside my room. We just can't have sex.
I have actual tears in my eyes right now, but I was trying to bring this back around and talk about, maybe a lot of us are feeling horny, but one of the things that's getting in the way is this issue of being around more family and not maybe having the privacy that you're used to having, being in a different location than you're used to. That is what we are going to get into today, talking about, is it okay to have sex when you have house guests or you are a house guest? Some specific tips for how to do it if you feel like you want to do it. And even some really hilarious stories you guys submitted to us on Instagram about sex gone wrong with house guests around. All right, so let's get into it. The first thing we did, as always, is going over to our Instagram audience and asking a few questions about this. First question we asked was, do you feel comfortable having sex at your parents or your in-laws or your, siblings, whatever, some other family member at their house? And 46% of people said yes, 54 said no.
This is actually a little higher than I thought. I thought that fewer people would be comfortable. Maybe like 30-70 or something.
Yeah, I was expecting it to be a little more in that range too. And then we also asked, do you feel comfortable having sex when you have house guests? So we wanted to see if there was going to be a difference between being a house guest versus being the host. And actually that poll was only 50-50. So there was a 4% difference of people felt slightly more comfortable having sex in their own house versus at somebody else's house.
Yeah.
And I was surprised by that too. I was expecting way more people to feel comfortable being like, it's my house.
Yeah, screw them. It's my house. I'm a moan. I'm a moan. You're going to deal with it.
Screw my partner. You're in my house. I'm going to screw my partner and I'm going to moan.
Yeah.
I was kind of surprised by these.
Yeah, I would say, this isn't a statistical analysis, but probably not a massive difference there.
Yeah.
4% gap.
Yeah.
May not be significant.
So when we put these polls up, we got a bunch of DMs from people saying well, what's your opinion on if this is okay or not? And it was kind of a little bit of etiquette coming in. Is it okay to fuck at somebody else's house? Or is that an impolite thing? Is this one of, you don't see this in etiquette rules. Oh, always bring your host a gift and make sure you don't fuck in their house. Yeah. So we wanted to kick off with talking about our opinion, how we feel about having sex in other people's house or with guests in your house. And probably will not surprise you to hear that we think that this is totally fine. Nobody says that you have to be chaste, when you're a house guest or you have house guests. And I think it's also really important to remember, it's not like you're having sex in front of them, right? There's still privacy. There still should be a closed door. Maybe that's one of the guidelines. As long as there can be a closed door. So if you're staying crashing on somebody's couch or behind a curtain or something like that, yeah, maybe not. But as long as there's some closed doors in the way, then that's fine, we think. A particularly useful distinction can be, think about these other people as your roommates rather than families.
Yeah, I mean, if you've ever lived in a roommate situation, after living with roommates for a little while, you kind of realize okay, I got to live my life with roommates here or not. And, it's all right, we got our doors closed. We gonna fuck.
Yeah. A lot of people get really uncomfortable about it being family. Oh my gosh, am I allowed to have sex while my mother is under the same roof? Think about it as, well, what would I do in a roommate situation like this? When I think of having roommates back in the day, it was yeah, we have a shared space here and we also have private spaces. We have most of my roommate situations were my own room. But, I have my own private space and I get to do what I want to do in my private space. But I think the most important thing about being a good roommate is being courteous and recognizing there is some aspect of shared space here. So I think the most important aspect of being a good roommate is just being courteous, being aware of yes, I do have my own space here, but also this is a shared space. And so I'm going to be thoughtful of how much noise am I making and who's coming in and out of the house and stuff like that.
Is the headboard slamming against the wall? Yeah,
exactly. You can think of it in the same way. Let's say that you're staying, at your parents' house. Okay, this is probably not the time to be role-playing jungle animals, using your loudest paddle on your partner.
Yeah, practicing your primal screaming.
Who does that during sex?
I'm sure that's a thing. I'm sure if I were to Google primal scream sex, I'm sure there are plenty of people practicing that.
Okay, so don't have your primal scream sex when you're at your parents' house, especially if you know that this is an old house and it has thin walls. We'll get into all that kind of logistical stuff in a minute.
Unless maybe your parents have hearing problems and, it's night, they take their hearing aids out. Boom, you're good to go.
That would be my dad. You could not hear anything without those. As long as you're just being respectful and you're making an effort to not be seen or heard, that it's fine, right? Okay, what is our track record being house guests or having house guests? What do you think?
I think we don't have a ton of sex. Mm-hmm. I think we don't. And if I think about it, it probably, I guess there's part of me where I'm like, I feel a little self-conscious about what you were just talking about, making noise or kind of doing what we typically do. I guess I'm making it sound like we are
You're
like...
making it sound like we have primal scream sex.
Yeah, like I'm making it sound like we're really loud. I think that we're probably pretty average.
Actually, we're not. We have done some polls recently about do people make noise or not, and the vast majority of people are very quiet.
Yeah, okay.
We're definitely louder than the average.
We make noise. We say things to each other. I kind of feel like, I don't want to have to, like, I don't know, change up what I do or...
Well, let's be real. You actually don't like having quiet sex.
I don't. That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, so that's always been a big impediment because when we have, both of our parents have older houses with not particularly thick walls.
Why is it that parents always have that?
No, creaky old houses.
Yeah.
And Xander really does not like having to be quiet because you don't like me being quiet because it makes you feel like I'm not enjoying myself.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
I guess so. And I like to be able to have a little moan here and there.
Yeah.
But so there's that aspect. I think the other bit of it is that, when we are having house guests or when we are house guests with someone else, I'm probably a little more emotionally, like energetically drained than usual because, you're hosting or you're trying to be a good guest. Typically when people are over or you're over with someone else, like you're doing more stuff than your typical day to day at home. And so, oftentimes it's like by the end of the day, like spent with family, I'm like pretty exhausted. And then I'm like, okay, let's just go to bed.
Yeah, I think you and we're the opposite of this new research. I think that we tend to have a lower sex drive around the holidays because we're doing so much stuff with family. We're kind of running around. There's a lot of different activities that are going on. It's not, for us, it's not a ton about like, oh my God, it's so wrong for us to have sex with our parents in the next room, but more like, I'm just not really in the mood after like a full day of family stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I would say we have a pretty good thing going on at home here. And
that sustains us through the holidays.
Yeah, we have a pretty good thing.
It's always the first time after the holidays is always fun. You're like, thank God. We're back in our space. Can be as loud as we want, catching up for a little bit of missed time.
Yeah, missed time.
Mixed time.
Making up for lost time.
Making up for lost. Catching up to...
No.
Making up for...
Just making up for lost time.
Making up for lost time.
But Vanessa, I have an idea. Should we resolve on this podcast to try to have more sex over the holidays?
Oh.
Should we make this a challenge?
Okay. How much sex?
I mean, I guess let's just try to do it a normal amount. I feel like what often happens with us is like, where we go for the holidays is we're not like flying across the country. We usually, it's like a 2-hour drive or something at most. And we, tend to spend maybe like 4 or 5 days away. So it's very common that maybe we just like won't have sex while we're away because we're like, okay, whatever, we'll be home in a couple days.
Okay.
Let's try to do it.
All right. And we will report back. There's Xander.
Let's try to do it as much as we can. For research.
Yeah, for research purposes. All right. Well, we will report back to you in January and let you know how our holiday sex challenge went.
All right. Yeah. Hopefully no parents are listening to this episode. Is this coming out before we go home? I don't know.
It is.
All right. We'll see.
Okay.
We'll see K and E if you are listening.
No, don't talk to them.
Hope you don't mind.
Our bedrooms are very close.
We'll bring our white noise machine.
We're gonna get into the tips in a minute, man. Okay, so our general pro tip for holiday time sex with or being a house guest, is that this can just be a good time for maintenance sex or vanilla sex. Don't whip out the new loud vibrating sex toy or the new lube that might stain the sheets or something like that. Like, just keep it classic. The classic sex that you usually have. I think that's a good general rule of thumb.
The holiday classics.
That should be a new sex position. Ooh. The holiday classic.
What is it, though?
Just missionary.
Well, no, I have a tip when we get to the sex positions. Hold tight, people.
Xander actually has a tip. Oh, my God.
I have an idea for what the holiday classic is.
Oh.
We'll get there in a little while.
Okay, damn.
So keep listening. Don't stop.
Xander and I know that we should be eating more seafood, but until this next podcast sponsor came into our lives, we really struggled with where to find high quality seafood until we discovered Wild Alaskan. They are the best way to get wild caught, perfectly portioned, nutrient dense seafood delivered directly to your door. And I know that might sound a little weird, but trust us, you have not tasted fish this good. So we've gotten several boxes from them with some of our absolute favorite kinds of fish: sockeye salmon, Pacific halibut, Pacific cod, Pacific rockfish. Our personal favorite is the halibut. It is 100% wild caught, never farmed, nutrient rich, absolutely full of flavor, and sustainably sourced. Every order supports sustainable harvesting practices. And you can try it risk-free with their 100% money-back guarantee. Not all fish are the same. Get seafood you can trust. Go to wildalaskan.com/pillow for $35 off your first box of premium wild-caught seafood. That's wildalaskan.com/pillow for $35 off your first order. Thanks to Wild Alaskan Company for sponsoring this episode.
So Vanessa and I just got back from a trip. We were gone in Morocco for 10 days, and the favorite product that I brought along with me was my Nature's Sunshine Brain Edge. So personally, I'm not a huge coffee drinker, and when I'm traveling, it can be hard for me to find a good quality drink, meaning that it can be tempting to reach for some of those caffeinated products. You know what I'm talking about, the ones that make you feel jittery or come with kind of a bit of a crash soon after you drink them. So that's why I brought my Nature's Sunshine Brain Edge packets with me. You just pour them into a little water bottle, shake it up. It's a delicious tasting drink. And it helps me feel more clear-headed and alert, especially after a long travel halfway around the world where you're battling a little bit of jet lag. So whether you're traveling or not, don't fight through feeling foggy and lethargic. Ignite your mental performance with Brain Edge. Nature's Sunshine is offering 20% off your first order plus free shipping. Go to naturesunshine.com and use the code PILLOW at checkout. That's code PILLOW at naturesunshine.com.
So let's talk about some of the common pitfalls that come up when you're having sex at somebody else's house. And we're going to give you our tips for the best way to kind of maneuver around those pitfalls so that you can continue to be intimate and have some holiday classics. First thing that comes up, thin walls. Your parents have that crickety old... Crackety.
Crackety.
Drafty?
No.
Creaky. I already had to stop recording this podcast once to have Xander remind me of the word, then I forgot it. Crackety somehow came up. Drafty. Creaky.
You said creaky.
Creaky.
You've now said drafty about 3 times.
I don't know where drafty came from.
I mean, drafty means so like old. There's holes in the wall, like the outside
like
air is blowing through.
Okay.
That might qualify too.
Your creaky old parents' house. A couple of thoughts here. First thing is kind of going back to like the roommates and like being courteous example that we were talking about is I think that there's a big difference between like accidentally letting out a slightly louder than you would have liked it to be moan versus intentionally making your primal screams or your jungle roleplay noises.
Yeah, I think the really important thing here is that a super short accidental noise is unlikely to really arouse very much suspicion. If you think back to, have you ever had roommates and have you ever thought that you heard a sex sound coming through the wall and then you stop to listen and then you don't hear it again and you just think, oh, well, that must have been something else. Or it wasn't sex. I'm not hearing anything.
Yeah, we just kind of wanted to start that by saying it's okay if you do end up being a little louder than you realized. But here are some ways to avoid that. One could be bring a white noise machine with you. So we do this. We travel with our noise machine because we actually genuinely love sleeping with white noise. But this is just such a crafty little trick. Tell your parents, I brought my white noise machine with me. I've gotten really used to it, but then it's actually providing a little bit of soundproofing too.
Some cover.
Another thing is you can always turn the TV on. I'm actually not a huge fan of sex to the TV because there's just inevitably something weird on, but do what you got to do.
I'd put some music on instead if that's a possibility.
Ooh, we have a good pro tip coming up in a little bit about that. But have some music going on. Another thing is you could do it in the bathroom. Again, it's another door. So if it's a private bathroom, like maybe an ensuite.
An ensuite.
An ensuite. Yeah, my parents' house is not fancy, but the bedroom that we always stay in has an ensuite, and it is the furthest room from every other room. So sometimes it works out in your favor. Or even do it in the shower.
Built-in white noise.
You may know how we feel about this. We are actually not huge fans of shower sex.
Yeah, if you have a 1 foot height difference, probably shower sex is not working for you very well. Believe me, I've tried. More power to you if it does work.
I like you say you've tried, as if I haven't been a part of it too.
As the partner responsible for more of the penetrating and thrusting,
there's a lot of maneuvering I'm doing, trying to help out too. Okay, other tips. If you focus on having more kissing, you'll probably hear less audible moaning. So you can kind of like distract each other by having more kissing, or even kind of moan into each other's mouths.
Muffle your moans with your mouths.
Or with your pillow. I mean, I think we have done that sometimes, and that's actually been really hot to have to put a pillow over your own face or put a pillow over your partner's face. Like, this could be very sexy. And then another tip here. For some people, quiet sex may be fun. So for us, actually, I like it. I think there can be something fun about like trying to be sneaky and like, let's not get caught. Let's be as quiet as we can. But I think for you, it just feels like, hello? Is anybody there?
Yeah, I mean, I guess for me, what it is that I like to try to get a sense of where you are, how you're doing, and kind of try to adjust my own timing accordingly. And when it's really quiet, it can be hard to do that.
Yeah.
It can feel a bit more one-sided. Oh, like I'm just being quiet, and like, oh my God, I'm about to come.
All right, let's talk about the next pitfall, which is a small bed.
Classic.
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully it's not like the college twin XL type situation.
I had a twin bed for a long time that I had to come back to, and that was not pleasant. Fortunately, my parents upgraded. But I think a lot of people, you're going back and you're sleeping in this tiny little bed. So if that's the case for you, you've really got to be strategic with your positions. Positions where your bodies are overlapping as much as possible, since you're not going to have a ton of room to maneuver around. Missionary, the old standby, cowgirl, like woman on top, or even spooning can work sometimes too in a small bed. Another thing that you can do if you're really stuck in that twin bed situation, you could always try like role playing being teenagers again. And I think this works especially well if your bedroom is still like decked out the way it was when you last lived there. If you've got like the Hanson poster on the wall and
JTT.
Oh yeah, a little JTT action. It could be kind of funny to role play like you're sneaking your boyfriend into the house and like you got to be quiet so mom doesn't wake up.
Pretend it's your first time.
Oh yeah. That could be super sexy. All right, another variation of this is, what if you've got the squeaky bed?
Oh, yeah. I mean, thin walls, I feel like oftentimes that bed in that room at your parents' house that no one sleeps on except for you when you come is probably going to be squeaky. My best tip for this is avoid the bed altogether. Just do it on the floor. Hopefully maybe there's a rug on the floor or something.
Carpet.
Not just like...
Pull some pillows down. Make a little sex fort.
Yeah, make a little fort on the floor, because most likely the floor is going to be way less creaky than the bed. And, that can be fun. Like, you're probably not going to make much noise on the floor. You don't have to worry about the bed squeaking. You don't have to worry about like a headboard bumping around. You don't have to worry falling off the bed if it's a tiny bed. There's less that can go wrong. Maybe the floor is a little less comfortable, but that could be exciting. So that would be my version of the holiday classic. Get on the floor.
On the floor?
Yeah, just
the
get on the floor.
The holiday classic is on the floor.
Yeah, got to be quiet.
Interesting. On the floor is also a position that you do not like to do. Like, my knees.
All right. Well, challenge accepted. Challenge accepted.
We're going to have more sex at my parents' house, and we're going to do the holiday classic.
Well, I realize we haven't even talked about exactly the sleeping arrangements this time. Who knows? We might not even be in our typical place, but I think there's a carpeted floor. We should be good.
Okay, we'll report back on how the holiday classic was. So this could also be an opportunity to get a little bit creative about the location. Maybe it is in the shower or in the bathroom. If you have a big closet, you could even do it there. Another way that you could get around a squeaky bed, if you are a male-female pairing, It doesn't have to be intercourse. You know, we talk about this all the time. Male and female relationships tend to really overemphasize intercourse as if that's the only thing that counts as sex. But this is kind of another overall pro tip about having sex when you're a house guest is like, sex doesn't have to be intercourse. You can be a lot quieter and have just as much fun using your hands, using your mouths, even masturbating side by side. So mix it up a little bit. Finally, I've got a pro tip here.
A real practical one.
Yeah. If your bed is super squeaky, you can just tell your parents, oh, I'm going to fix the bed for you. Like, I don't want to, wake anybody up. Or you could even say, like, I want to make sure I sleep better and it's not squeaking when I'm trying to roll around or my partner's rolling around.
Yeah, I was waking up all night last night every time she flipped over.
So just fix the bed. Get out some screwdrivers.
Tighten the screws. Get some WD-40.
Fix the bed.
Yeah, oftentimes it's just a couple screws loose. It's pretty easy to fix. Sometimes there's a lot of screws and then you don't know which one is the right one.
Give it a shot.
They're hard to reach, but give it a try. I feel like I'm always trying to fix our bed.
We do have some squeaking issues. Also, maybe a part of the reason why we don't do it so much when we have house guests. Next category is you're nervous. So I think a lot of people just feel plain nervous when they go to their parents' or their in-laws' house. You're worried about being caught. You're worried about what your parents might think. A couple tips for you here. One, just wait until everyone's asleep. Nighttime's always the best time to do it when you're a house guest in somebody else's house. You could also get creative and have sex outside of the house. Nobody says holiday sex has to happen in somebody's house. Maybe you get creative, go outside. Car sex, I think, is going to be the easiest one for most people. So this could be another one where it could be fun to, let's say your hometown has a little lover's lane. Maybe you even went there when you were in high school. Like, go back to that spot and have a little bit of sex in the car. And again, sex could be whatever you want it to be. It doesn't have to be intercourse.
Hey, how come you've never taken me to the lover's lane of your hometown?
I feel like I have.
I don't know where it is.
It's up Gibraltar.
Oh, Gibraltar. I'm not sure if there was a lover's lane where I grew up. Or else I just never knew about it.
See, both of us grew up kind of in the hills. You way more so out in the bays.
Yeah, I mean, it could have been anywhere.
So it literally, around where both of us live, it's just like, just go down a windy road. There aren't going to be very many people there anyways.
However, this one does remind me, when we asked some funny questions on Instagram about sex fails or embarrassing situations. And I do remember there was a couple who said that they got caught by the same cop twice, like one day and then the next day.
He's like, go home.
Getting frisky. And he was just like, come on, like you're done.
Do it
you're
at
done.
Your parents' house. Get over it. One other very obvious tip a lot of you seem to not follow is to lock the door, my friends. We heard so many stories about like, oh, somebody just came barging in. I totally forgot to lock the door.
The other thing parents love to do.
Yeah. So just lock it. If there's not a lock, get creative and drag the dresser in front of the door, prop a chair there or something, like blockade that door. Finally, let's talk about the last pitfall, which is evidence.
Destroy the evidence. How to destroy your sex evidence.
First thing is that you want to be mindful of stains. This is what we meant about like, maybe don't bring the silicone or the coconut-based lube because those can sometimes stain sheets if you're not super careful, and you probably don't. You're already going to be super careful in other ways. Just forget about it. Also, period sex might be a little bit more complicated if you're, staying with your parents and they have all white sheets and all white towels. Like, okay, maybe then the timing. Usually we're huge fans of period sex. We do not think it's a big deal. But if you've just got all white stuff around you and this is day one of your flow, probably not the greatest timing, right?
I mean, you could throw the towel down. I feel like if you make a mess of a towel, that's a little easier to explain than a mess of the sheets.
Yeah. Well, and another way that you could get around that is you could just be a courteous house guest and bundle up your sheets and your towels when you're done and like get the wash started. That way no one will ever see it.
Toss them in the trash can.
The trash can.
Drive down to the grocery store and toss them in the dumpster.
Your dad's like trying to change the bed afterwards. He's like, where's all of the bedding?
Oh, whoops. I thought it was a one-time use situation.
What? You're saying the weirdest things today.
Or, get them new sheets for the holidays. Because the other thing that parents are notorious for are having
terrible
ratty ass sheets.
I want our first podcast sponsor to be like a really nice sheet company.
Oh, yeah.
Because both of our parents desperately need new sheets. Okay, your parents, the sheets are ancient. My parents have also ancient sheets, but also they like try to buy those like bed in a bag things, usually on sale after the holidays, like Bed Bath and Beyond, and they're like polyester sheets that like spark in the middle of the night because they're just such bad quality.
Oh yeah, the blanket that we sleep with at your parents' house, if you move your position in the middle of the night, you will see sparks.
You will see sparks. I can't believe we haven't
We just gotta bring our own bedding. What are we doing?
I know, it's really bad.
We're bringing our pillows and our duvets this time.
So maybe we will throw away all of the bedding in my parents' house.
Maybe this is K and E's way of trying to discourage us.
We know that they'll only sleep on these sheets for like 3 nights before they go nuts. New pillows too. Good God, those pillows. They're like 30 years old. No, those pillows are probably older than I am. So lumpy, so uncomfortable.
Yeah, I don't want to know what's inside of them.
I'm getting really excited to have sex in their house under all this uncomfortable bedding and squeaky beds.
We're going to load up our entire car with all of our own bedding.
I think we will have to now, especially if we're doing this holiday challenge. Okay, final tip around the evidence is if condoms are involved in the sex that you have, do not flush the condoms. We got so many horror stories about people who backed up the toilets. And then do you know how hard it is to get a plumber on Christmas? Do not flush your condoms. And I would even go a step further and say, when you pack up all your sheets and towels to go throw away at the grocery store dumpster, like Xander is encouraging, put the condoms in there too, because we also got so many stories, we're all sitting around enjoying Christmas dinner and then the dog comes running out of our room with a condom in his mouth and like hijinks ensues, everybody trying to chase him and he's getting away from everyone and the condom just dripping out. Please spare your dog, spare yourself, spare your parents. Pack up your It's sort of like that. What do they say about camping? Like pack in, pack out.
Pack in, pack out. Pack your trash.
Pack out with your condoms. Keep your own little special trash bag that you're like.
Yeah, bring a little. Go on Amazon. I bet you can get like a fake like evidence bag. Get like a crime scene like evidence bag. Put on your gloves. Drop it in. Seal it up.
Out of your parents.
Seal it up. Make a whole thing out of it.
We know you have at least one person on your list who is impossible to get gifts for, so we have 2 excellent ideas. A bamboo pajama set or the bubble cuddle blanket from one of our favorite podcast sponsors, Cozy Earth. Both of these products are just so soft, so luxurious, and they are real crowd pleasers. I can't think of anybody who would not want to receive either one of these gifts.
We give these to so many people.
Yeah, we also have them ourselves and wear them all the time. The pajamas are so comfortable. The bubble cuddle blanket's just so soft. We seriously cannot recommend either of these enough.
Yeah, we may or may not fight over who gets the blanket on the couch, including fighting amongst the dogs and us.
Give the gift of comfort that lasts beyond the holidays. This weekend only, from Thanksgiving Day through Cyber Monday, get 40% off at CozyEarth.com with code PillowTalks. It's the best deal of the year. Wrap the ones you love in luxury with Cozy Earth. Here's the sad truth. Most of us spend more time picking a Netflix show than we do being actually present in our relationship.
And yet, research actually shows that your relationship is a bigger predictor of your happiness more than your career or money. But there's never been a clear roadmap to deeper connection and lasting intimacy. Until now.
That's why we built Deeper, our membership for couples who want to feel closer, more connected, and more passionate. If your relationship is in a good place, you'll love the quick wins, like brand new date night ideas every month, fun conversation prompts, and even Vanessa AI, your on-demand coach that you can ask anything, anytime.
And if you hit a tougher season, which is totally normal, then Deeper has you covered with our full library of courses and guides so that you can deep dive into exactly what you need most right now. Think communication, Connection, desire, pleasure, or exploration. We've got you. It's like having a relationship wellness plan that actually fits into your real life.
It's the membership that we always wished existed for ourselves. Something in between expensive therapy and trying to just figure it all out on your own. So whether you just want fresh ideas to keep things exciting or you need more structured tools to get back on track, Deeper meets you where you are. Because your relationship deserves at least as much care as your Netflix queue.
Curious what your deeper journey might look like? Start with the Intimacy Quiz, your key to love that lasts. This quick quiz helps you uncover what your relationship needs most right now. And you might be surprised because most couples get this one wrong. You'll walk away with a personalized roadmap, straight to the point, actionable, and designed to help you reconnect with your partner ASAP. So head on over to vmtherapy.com/5keys. That's the number 5 and then the word keys. Again, it's vmtherapy.com/5keys. And don't worry, we'll also link it in the show notes for you.
All right, then we have a few more just little pro tips from Instagram. We actually asked people, like, what are your best tips for having sex at somebody else's house and not getting caught? There were a couple that I thought were just really smart. One, early morning sex.
The old cock-a-doodle-doo. I was just thinking, this sounds like a great way to wake everyone up with a smile.
Oh my God. Is that gonna have to be another sex position too?
The
holiday classic and the cock-a-doodle-doo.
Yeah. I feel like the cock-a-doodle-doo is like waking your partner up with a blowjob.
And the certified horn dog too. Oh my God, you're killing me today. Early morning sex could be a great one. This is just a little tangent, but I think a lot of us just have this association with sex as something that happens at night. And the reality is you can have sex at any time during the day. And based on the schedules in your house that you're staying in, maybe morning is actually the much more private time.
I think for many people in the morning, it can sometimes be quicker. At least for men, where you tend to have an erection for a lot of the night. Oftentimes you wake up with one. And so, it can be pretty quick. I know for some women also, it can be maybe you've just woken up from a sex dream or something. You may be a little more suggestible, so to speak. Not for everyone.
All right. Another tip that someone shared is they said that they just keep music playing throughout the day in their room so that people just kind of get used to like, oh yeah, like so-and-so just has music playing all the time. And then that allows them to leave the music on and drown out sex sounds without any suspicion.
Oh, yeah. So just play your sexy playlist the whole time.
Mariah Carey.
On repeat.
All weekend. And finally, have a secret code word or a sign that you and your partner agree on beforehand that means let's go have sex right now. So this can be a great way if one of you happens to notice like, oh, there's a quick moment of opportunity here that you can kind of signal it to the other. And it can also just make it feel fun and playful between the two of you to like have some sort of secret code between the two of you. So now let's get into some of the funniest stories that we got about sex gone wrong.
Because unfortunately, we don't have any of our own.
We don't really.
I'm trying to think of like what is our most sex gone wrong, guests or no guests. Obviously, we don't really have any with guests. Do we have any horribly gone wrong? I can think of one or two. I think you've shared one or two of them on Instagram before. So.
But they have not been involving guests around.
No.
So we're going to share these stories that we got from Instagram. We got hundreds of submissions. We asked people, like, tell us the funniest story of what happened when you tried to have sex with house guests around, not with the house guests, or when you were a house guest. So why don't you read the first one, babe?
When I first started going out with my wife, we went to visit her family and we were staying in different rooms, but totally got hot for each other. So we met up in the kitchen at midnight and did it standing up. It was fantastic. But also, we weren't prepared. I pulled out and came all over the kitchen floor. We wiped with paper towels and cleaned really well, or so we thought. The next morning at breakfast, her father looked at the floor and was like, "What happened here?" and went ahead and started cleaning it with a sponge. All I could think of was he's cleaning up my cum with his bare hands.
Oh, brutal.
I will say, though, they used emojis in here. I replaced the emojis. I translated. It could also be that a woman squirted all over the kitchen floor. We don't really know.
I'm pretty sure this one was from a dude, but
Probably.
thank you for your translations. All right, here's the next one. Our guests were sleeping in the living room and I was in my bedroom. Very separate spaces. This was after a night of drinking. It's like 3 a.m. My best friend and her boyfriend decide to get it on. I don't know how, but they knocked over a mirror that we had on an easel and it came crashing down onto the fireplace and knocked some other stuff over. My German Shepherd thought someone was breaking in and rushed to the living room, ended up attacking and biting her boyfriend, biting him on the nose.
Ooh.
They had been dating only 3 months. I thought I was going to have a lawsuit. He was a very forgiving dude, thankfully, but yeah, terrible.
Wow. I can't really blame your dog. Your dog,
Yeah,
your dog performed admirably. All right, next one is, we hosted Christmas a couple years ago. Our guest room was full, so my sister and brother-in-law slept in our teenage son's room while he slept in his brother's room. My husband and I had sex, and he got me a new vibrator for Christmas, so we used it. The next day, my sister said, by the way, he, referring to our own son, can hear everything. Everything.
That's like a double whammy there. Not only did the sister hear them, but also the sister was able to pass along this intel that if I heard you, your son has been hearing you this whole time too. All right, here's the next one. When I was in college, nobody was home at my mom's, so my boyfriend and I went for it, but didn't hold back in the way that we might if we knew that someone could hear us. Little did we know, her ladies' book club came back during, and they were having tea down the hall in the kitchen. When we came out later, trying to pretend we were not just having sex, one lady looked over at us and said, "Oh, to be young and in love, enjoy your youth." My mom just stared at me as my soul left my body.
This sounds like a scene from an American Pie style movie.
Oh yeah, for sure.
All right, next one is, we were camping in our RV and had 2 friends stay over. We were in the bedroom going to town. It was like 7 a.m. Oh, good, they're following the early morning sex thing.
The cockadoodle-doo.
Yeah, they're doing the cockadoodle-doo. It was 7 a.m, so we assumed they would still be sleeping. Nope. The guy was up being a good guest and cooking us breakfast, egg and cheese sandwiches. Super nice of him. We didn't realize we would be shaking the RV so much. But it was okay. We go in there after, and the first thing the guy said was he didn't even need to flip the eggs in the pan. We shook the RV so much. He still jokes about it every time he stays with us.
My mom was visiting and sleeping right down the hall, and we had some fun one morning.
Oh, again, cockadoodle-doo.
Little cockadoodle-doo
They're doing
action.
it.
That night, I started bleeding. I'm 17 weeks pregnant, and I had to call my midwife for advice. She happened to call back when we were in the car with my mom, and her first question was, have you had sex in the last 24 hours? Because bleeding can be totally normal after sex. I had to say, yes, we had sex this morning with my mom sitting right next to me in the car, knowing that she had been right down the hall.
And then finally, on vacation with now husband's family, we were dating back then, we had sex in the shared bathroom in the middle of the night and thought we were in the clear. Well, sister-in-law had horrid diarrhea and heard us. Not only did she hear us, she had to shit in her bedroom trash can.
Amazing.
Wow.
That is really something.
She's got something to hold over you.
Oh, yeah.
The rest of your life.
Diarrhea into the trash can because you guys were having sex.
That's so nice of her that I would have just pounded on the door and been like, I don't care what you're doing, get out.
I know.
You're done.
Well, we hope that these stories have made you laugh, but not dissuaded you from having sex at your parents' or your in-laws, or having sex when they are staying with you. Because the holidays can be full of love and desire and excitement, and we will report back about
how did our horn doggery go?
Our horn doggery go. All right, well, that's all for today's episode of Pillow Talks. Thanks so much for listening. Join us again next week. We release new episodes every Thursday.